Uganda Bureau of Statistics Educational Facilities Import. So schools around Uganda. I opened this one previously, and I know there are 42 schools. That should be feasible for the time that I want to spend on this introduction. So first of all, I make sure I have a new layer there. Well, that's not well. Um, I say start mapping. Now, normally you click that button again, and for validation, I do that. But for starting an import, I click here because that's where the facilities to import are. They're coming from this server, and now they're sent to JOSM. Takes a while. No mapillary pictures in Uganda, so let's take that away. So here we see a layer, UBUS educational facilities. This is only has these. What you can do then is download data for this tile. It's a little bit bigger than what you would get if you would have pressed this button. If you do two things up separately, then you have to merge the layers. But if you download the data into this layer directly, then there is no need to do that. Okay, so I created a button. The button is here, but I'm going to show you how to create the button yourself. You do Control Find, then you say you want the school, kindergarten, university, and college with these signs in between parentheses, and you want them as amenities. This has to be searched for as a regular expression. And what you do then is say add toolbar button. This is very practical. You could also add in view there. This is convenient with this. But I don't really need that at the moment because all I have is this data that I downloaded plus the data ready to be imported. So I press my button on the toolbar and I know now I have 42 schools to import. One very interesting thing, one very interesting thing here is this to-do list. You can clear it this way. You can add all the schools to it and you can jump from one to the other. How come this to-do list is there? Well, I did F12 when I first started using JOSM. I went to the plugins and there I ticked the box from the to-do list. I also did the same for the buildings tools. There, the buildings tools. The utils plugin 2. There, utils plugin 2. These are lifesavers. These, without that, things get complicated. Another one that's interesting is the terracer. The terracer. I'm going to show you what you can do with that one. Yeah. Terracer. Yeah. Okay. So that is about the plugins. So let's. Well, normally you tick the boxes that you need and then you say okay. If their list is empty, you do download list first. Okay, cancel. So we have the schools in the to-do list. What I also installed the Wikipedia plugin. I forgot to mention that one. It's not crucial, but I like to add Wikidata stuff. So on there, the Wikipedia plugin is really interesting for that. So for instance, you see here Maracha district, and here you see a border line. So if you click on the border line, then we will probably find Maracha there, you see. Here, when I was working on that. I did it wrong. It should be 4 there. It already has Wikidata and that one, that's good. But what it doesn't have is an admin center. So if I click here and I open this, well, actually this is just something I usually do when I'm but normally I can find here what is the capital, town Maracha. Okay, so then I try to find this town Maracha. Well, anyway, this is something I usually do when I'm validating the tiles. So I'm not going to make this change now. Okay, so that's not so important, I'm sorry. So anyway, I have them all in the to-do list, so I can zoom to the first one. Now we see that I have too many layers there. You have here Bing aerial imagery, and you can also load, sometimes you need MapQuest. Okay, you see that MapQuest is more like a black and white or a gray layer. You can switch them on and off with Alt 2. And if you want to switch Bing on and off, Alt 1. So the first layer here all the way in the bottom is Alt 1, Alt 2, Alt 3. See? Alt 4 if you don't want to see the map layer. So that is a handy key to switch it on and off. Okay, we find our school, and we see that the school is actually there. So all that you need to do is move the node. Then you read the name. Oh yeah, why do I see all this information? Because I downloaded the map paint style. Again, I'm going to show you where it came from. The third one here, map paint styles there. And then you look for schools here. Schools, I called it. Yeah, there are schools. And then you put it over there. Now it's there twice. I also have a local version when I want to work on it, to develop it. Okay. But normally you simply put that over there, and then here you take the box and you say you want to see it or not. Okay, so what do we see? We see Otravu preschool. That's not very good. So let's change that to primary school. That's a lot better already. Then here we also see government aided. Ah, okay. So we get rid of that, and then we add operator type. This type is very important, operator type, because operator would be the people that are operating it. So, but then, well, usually we don't know in this case. Sometimes we do, but okay, operator type, and there you put public because it's government funded or, yeah. One thing that you can do is do a Control F and type gov. And then you find all the schools that are having here in the node remarks. You find all the schools that are government aided. Aha, this is interesting because now I can simply get rid of this node remarks and say for all these schools at the same time, so 26 at the same time, operator type public. Okay, that went quickly. Then while we're at it, we look for a pre as well. And then we see operator type edit. And now we see here public. That is strange. Let's see, note remarks, two different. Private and privately owned. But probably my pre is not long enough, so I better look for a priv. Should find, let's see, these note remarks. That's already a lot better. Private, privately owned. renting. Strange. Okay. So the values in there are private and privately owned. So all these we can say, we can take the note remarks away and we can say operator type private. Okay. So now we go and look for this operator type to find if there are still schools, but you have to put it between quotes. Okay. We want to find it as a standard. And we still find schools with operator type in them. We still, I know operator type now, of course. That's not what I wanted to search for. I'm silly. I wanted to look for node code and node remarks. What is in node code? Primary, secondary, and vocational. Okay. What is the other one? Node remarks. Let's search all our schools again. Node remarks. The only value that's still in there is renting. Renting. So it doesn't mean anything to me, so I'm simply going to get rid of that one. So delete both. Okay. Now let's find node code and find all these primary schools. So now in here I still have two values in node code. Please check, and primary school. Yeah, okay, so I have to say node code equals primary school. Enter. Now all of them are primary school. Okay. Now what I'm really interested in is the ones that don't have primary in their name tag. So I say, but not the ones with name, regular expression, primary. Here it has to say regular expression for this to work. So now I should have excluded the ones. Didn't work. I didn't test it. But probably here I have to say, then have primary somewhere in the string. Start. Okay, that didn't work. Anyway, the ones that, now it's relatively easy to find, the ones that have primary school in this node code but don't have the correct name there. Only one of them. The rest is all have primary in there. So this one, let's jump to it. Aqua primary school. Remove the nodes. We can remove node code and there. There. Now the name is better. So now we do the same for secondary. So now we find all the ones that have explicitly secondary school in there. Secondary, high, secondary, secondary, secondary. There's one that's wrong, and there is one that might get misinterpreted. But this one is definitely wrong. So select. Okay. Now let's look for everything that has node code in it and see which values we still have in there. Institute, primary, secondary, and vocational. Okay, so now we don't need this node code anymore, so we can take that away. Good. Okay, so that's the first thing. We can also check the names of the cities. What I'm looking for here is a capital missing, capital letter missing. Okay, so Nigo Anzopi. Let's look for Anzopi. There only one school, and this one needs to be a capital letter. What I was looking for in those names is Roman numerals, but I think those problems are solved in the source data by now. Okay, so let's select all of the schools once again. Okay, looking good. Yeah. So I go back to my to-do list. Now, um, it is possible to draw the buildings already. It's probably best not to. But if the buildings are there, then you have to check if they're actually building school and not building yes. But let's say that we want to draw the buildings. Then we use the buildings tools, the B button. Oh, I should switch on this. Then you can see what I'm typing. There, I selected that building, and now with 2 clicks I can add another building. And with another 2 clicks I can add this building. Only that building is not done. So what do we want? We want to do X, double click there, and then extend this. Okay. What I also do sometimes, that's a bit exaggerated probably, is draw a line there, go from the extreme nodes, and then do Shift B, and then it gets centered, and then delete the line. But, well, over the top. Here are many buildings, I'm not going to draw all those. Go to the next one. Next, Maracha High School. This one, I don't see a building, so I zoom out. Aha. Now so that is most likely the school, so you can drag it all the way over there. It's not a problem. Sometimes you have to zoom out even further, and you have to really drag it from the middle of nowhere to where there is a plausible place for a school. These buildings I'm going to draw, so B, 1, 2, 3. It's not quite right, so I'm going to do select W. I'm going to move these nodes a little bit better. W. Okay, and then I do Q, so to make it rectangular. Then I do X, double click, extend, extrude actually. Okay, now this building is selected. I do B, 1, 2, that doesn't work. With that building selected, this building is going to be parallel, but it's not really parallel. So I do W and I put these corners correctly, and then I do Q to make it rectangular. This building probably also belongs to it. Now, every time that I draw a building, you see here that immediately it becomes school. Why is that? Because here in data, set building size, advanced, I set it to building school. Usually it says building yes there. Another thing that I like is auto select building, but for some strange reason it's always deselected this button after I restart. Okay, so now we have this school. Now we can do this again if you like. And we go to the next one. Here we don't see anything. So there we do our Alt 2 trick. And we still don't see much. We zoom out a bit and more and more and more. And we still don't see anything. Well, okay, then we're out of luck. So for this one, we don't know if it's correct. So we do add, fix me. Please check the position of the node. And we leave it where it is. Korba Primary School. I do Alt 2 again to switch off this Why does it say map quest? Did I do the wrong thing? Imagery. Oh, okay, I'm so sorry. Um, so MapQuest doesn't have anything to do with it. So Mapbox satellite, that's what I actually wanted to switch on. With 8, I can go back to the previous zoom position. So here I always move forward and I couldn't get back. But with 8 it's possible to go to a previous zoom position. Aha. So on Mapbox, see? Oh, and now I see it on Bing as well. Strange. Okay. Um, so this is definitely the school. Now there is something we can do here. You have several buildings. So let's do something that will look strange at first. Let's draw that building like that. Then Shift T, and that is where this Terracer plugin comes in. I already set it to have 3 segments. I don't really want 3 segments, but I want to be able to cut that one out. And now I have buildings that are perfectly aligned. The disadvantage with this ones is that this wasn't really necessary to have it aligned like that. What you can also do is drag that one over there, but that's not really needed. But then you know that this will be in line. You do Shift T again, 3 again, okay. This almost never happens that this is needed, but then the other option is this is still selected. If I now do B and I draw this building, I can draw this building with 2 clicks. Problem is that it's not parallel to these, so no problem. W to move the points conveniently. I don't have to do this. Click, move, click, move. No, I click the entire building. I do W. I put the nodes where they have to go without anything else. If I need an extra node, I do Control click. This is to improve way accuracy. Normally Control Z to go back, and then I do Q to make it rectangular. There you go. All the buildings are marked as school right away. That's good. Because I think it's funny to do that. I do that too, but it's not absolutely needed, of course. Anyway, so there you go. Next. This square bracket is okay. So I can use my trick here again. This time I have 3 buildings, so I'm going to do Shift T. I'm going to put 5 there. Okay, I don't need that. I don't want that. You go away. And then X to extrude. So this extrusion works on a side. If the side is full, then it works on the complete side. If you double click there, then you can also drag like that. Didn't really want to do that. B. With 2 clicks I have another building, only it's not exactly parallel, so well, usually they are like this one. I think it is. So with 2 clicks I can add another building there. Okay. Let's move this node over here and then move to the next one. This one is again in the middle of nowhere. So this is the seed secondary, so that one must be the vocational school. With 3 you can zoom in on your selection. Again in the middle of nowhere. This one seems like a good candidate. It's far away from where UBOS put the node, but still, well, it's a good candidate, I think. What we can do is add check with the fix me's. They're almost never checked, so yeah. We should add them, but I don't know if it's really going to be useful in the end. But then people at least have an idea that we had to guess, do some guesswork. B. In the beginning I tried to draw all the buildings, but I more or less gave up on trying to do that. Q. Okay. Right, it's a simple trick to use Shift B to move something to the center of a line. If you have 3 nodes, then, or if you have 5 nodes, they're all spaced. Normally, if you do this work, then it's enough if you add the nodes and drag them to the proper place. But I'm trying to show you some tricks if you want to draw buildings around Uganda or anywhere, then these tricks are generally useful. So that's the extrusion again. So I do X, double click, and then I drag it. So normally it's enough if you simply drag it to over there to have a general ID. Whoops, where they are. Zoom out a bit here. This must be it. This one is simply called primary school. Yeah, can't be helped. Also, we don't know the city, so we know very little about it. Catechist school. What we can deduce from that is that it's probably Roman Catholic. We could add that as well. Now I want to switch on the Mapbox satellite imagery. There we see where the buildings are. Quality is not so good, but well, it's enough to okay. Funny thing with this, drawing a line and then pressing Shift B is that you can drag it all the way over there. Don't forget to take away that one. What I also do is drag nodes like these and change roads like these to a highway unclassified, surface unpaved. But it's also something that I mostly do. And this is where also if I click on the way, if I click on the way and then use W, and with control click I can easily add points. But as I said, it's something that I mostly do when validating. There. Switch back to so these buildings are immediately tagged as school and they're immediately square because I used this building tools plugin. Oops. To keep this layer active. That's why it's better to use Alt 2 and Alt 1. With Alt 2 I can easily switch on and off my box. I need my box in this case. These keyboard shortcuts are really practical. This road is very... Seven more. I can see here how I'm progressing. Kokoro tailoring school. I don't see which one it might be, so I'm going to add fix me. Please check the position of the node. So hopefully somebody looks at those fix me's at some point. where somebody who looks at that school can at least deduce that the one who was adding it wasn't totally sure where it then had to be added. If the buildings are there, it's obvious, but quality of my box is not great, but it's good that we have it as a backup. Found it. Yeah, I'm not adding all the buildings anymore because I don't want to have this. There you go, we're done. Well, these two buildings I'll add since we're done. What you can also do is Control D to duplicate. Okay, so now I wrote a script. I first have to select all my schools again. It should be 42 indeed. I wrote a script and the script does some things for me. So what it's going to do is to connect to Wikidata and see if for these schools there are already entries in Wikidata. Well, of course there aren't. And now it's creating those Wikidata items. This also takes a while. I'm going to show you one of the results. While I'm waiting for that, I'm going to say here imported 42 schools. Not quite done with it, so I'm going to leave that text there for a moment. Let's see here, Wikidata, okay, let's look at my contributions. And there we see all these schools appearing. Created new item. So what did it do? Seems to be done. So it added a Victory Senior Secondary School, and then it says Secondary School in Mundru, Uganda. So that's the address city. And then it took address district and it looked up the correct district on Wikidata, and it makes a link over there. I also added country Uganda, and it added an instance of secondary school. The coordinates aren't in there yet. So this is what it looked up. It looked for Maracha district and found this. And then it used this queue number to say located in administrative territorial entity, but it's at district level. What it also does, the script, is to add references. And I created an Wikidata entry for this list of schools. So at the moment we don't have coordinates. That's because the script isn't done yet, although it is. Yeah, it cannot add coordinates because it wants to also make a reference, but before it can make a reference, it needs to have. Okay, so what does the script also do for me? It's switching to my import OSM account, and now I can, and it selected all these schools for me. So again, to 42 schools. And then I do File, Upload Selection. So only the schools go up on the import account. And all the buildings that I've been adding will be, and the ways that I've been changing will go up in another way. Now, we need to add tags here. And what the script also did was put something in my clipboard. I'm going to show you what it put there. Control N. It put this text in my clipboard. Import is yes, URL and source. Okay. If I use this button here, it's going to paste all that information there. And then here I only need to say imported 42 schools. There you go. I actually could change that too. I could add that as well. UID for the script. And then upload changes. So now with the import account, it's uploading these schools. But that's not all the data that I changed. I changed more data. Now I'm going to search for my schools again. So again, I find 42. I run my script again. And now the script is going to do something else. It's not creating Wikidata entries. It's looking them up. It finds, it already exists. But then it checks, does it already have coordinates? If it doesn't have coordinates yet, it's going to remember this queue number and the coordinates, of course. So it has to do this now for 42 schools, while looking them all up. There. So primary school already in Wikidata, it says. Or queue number already in Wikidata. Okay. So we wait a while. There. Now my browser is opened with 4 tabs. Yeah. Let it cook for a while. It switched back to the regular OSM account, and now I simply upload all the rest. Key ID looks like ID. This is strange. So I sometimes get suspicious data found. So I'm going to see what it's complaining about. ID. I don't know where this comes from. So yeah, that's quite useless. And this one is about the same problem. Okay. So I upload. Then I say here. What can I say? There are added buildings for some schools and improved the accuracy of highways. Then the source is not UBOS but Bing. And then here in these tags that can stay like it is. And we do upload. When I'm validating, the workflow is a little bit different, but it's not so. Okay, so now everything is uploaded, so I can go to the browser. This is not working well today. Let's go here to the task manager, and then here I can say imported 42 schools, added buildings for some. Oops.